There's a power within you that modern society has taught you to waste, an energy the ancients considered sacred and that Napoleon Hill identified as the secret fuel of history's great achievers. This force isn't just biological, it's alchemical, transformative, capable of elevating an ordinary man to the stature of a giant in any area of life. But do you have the courage to confront the truth about what really happens when you stop throwing away your vital essence through compulsive and unconscious ejaculation? The question that should wake you every morning is this: if within your body there exists a substance so powerful it can create human life, why do you treat it like disposable trash? Why has our culture turned nature's most sacred act, the transmutation of sexual energy, into an empty mechanical compulsion devoid of purpose and awareness? And more importantly, are you ready to discover what happens when this energy is no longer wasted and is channeled into building your greatness? Contemporary society has created one of the most perverse inversions in human history. It has taken the most powerful force inhabiting the male body, sexual energy, and reduced it to a conditioned reflex, a tension reliever, an escape from boredom and anxiety. Through instant pornography, compulsive masturbation, and the culture of instant gratification, they have transformed men into slaves of their own impulses, creatures who believe they are satisfying a need when in fact they are feeding an addiction that keeps them weak, scattered, and far from their true potential. Napoleon Hill, the man who decoded the mental secrets of America's greatest millionaires, discovered something few dared to speak openly about. All the great men he studied, from Andrew Carnegie to Thomas Edison, had a conscious and disciplined relationship with their sexual energy. They weren't repressed or neurotic. They were internal alchemists who understood that the same force capable of creating a human being could, when transmuted, create empires, immortal works of art, revolutionary scientific discoveries, and colossal fortunes. This is the first scientifically proven benefit of semen retention that modern science is finally validating: a significant increase in testosterone levels. Recent studies show that men who practice sexual abstinence for specific periods experience testosterone spikes that can reach 147% of baseline levels after just 7 days. But this isn't just a number on a lab test. It's the biochemical key that unlocks a cascade of transformations that touch every aspect of male existence. When testosterone levels rise in this natural and organic way, not through artificial supplements or external substances, but through self-discipline and internal transmutation, something magical happens in the male psyche. Confidence is no longer a social performance or a mask you wear to impress others. It becomes a presence emanating from the inside out, a magnetism that cannot be faked because it is real, substantial, rooted in the biology of strength. The second benefit revealed by contemporary research is the optimization of cognitive function and mental clarity. When you stop constantly draining your vital essence through frequent ejaculations, the brain experiences a profound neurochemical reorganization. Neurotransmitters associated with pleasure and reward, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, cease to be constantly dysregulated by the vicious cycles of arousal and release, finding a natural balance that promotes laser focus, enhanced memory, and sustained concentration. This is the phenomenon that Napoleon Hill observed in the industrial giants he studied: a supernatural ability to maintain focus on a goal for months, years, decades, without being scattered or seduced by lesser distractions. They weren't different men. They were men who discovered how to channel nature's most powerful human force to fuel their conscious ambitions instead of wasting it on unconscious pleasures. But here we arrive at the deepest and most transformative aspect of this journey. Semen retention is not about repression or denial. It's about recognition and transmutation. It's about understanding that within each drop of your seminal fluid lies not only the biological potential to create life, but the alchemical potential to recreate yourself into a superior, more powerful, more magnetically attractive, and more accomplished version. The third scientifically documented benefit is increased physical energy and vitality. When you understand that each ejaculation represents a significant loss of zinc, magnesium, calcium, high-quality proteins, and a range of essential micronutrients, You begin to understand why you feel exhausted, lethargic, and mentally foggy after compulsive masturbation. It's not guilt or shame, it's real, measurable nutritional and energetic depletion, with direct consequences on your ability to perform in all areas of life. Practitioners of semen retention consistently report energy levels that seem supernatural to those still trapped in cycles of waste. They wake up with genuine vitality, maintain high performance throughout the day, experience faster physical recovery, and a resilience that doesn't depend on external stimulants. This isn't nervous or artificial energy, it's vital energy being conserved and redirected to conscious purposes instead of being constantly drained by unconscious compulsions. The fourth benefit emerging from recent studies is a significant improvement in sleep quality and recovery patterns. When the nervous system is not constantly being overloaded by cycles of artificial sexual arousal and compulsive release, it finds a natural rhythm of activation and rest that promotes deep sleep, more vivid dreams, and waking up refreshed. Many practitioners report needing fewer hours of sleep to feel completely restored, as if the body has found superior energy efficiency. At this point in our journey together, I need to share something important with you. If this conversation is resonating with your soul, if you feel you've finally found someone willing to speak truths others won't dare utter, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now and hit that notification bell. Why? Because what we're exploring here isn't superficial self-help advice, it's the deepest secrets of masculine transformation, knowledge that can literally rewrite the code of your existence. Every video I post is a deeper dive into these mysteries, and if you don't subscribe, you'll miss the keys that could unlock the extraordinary man within you. Don't let the algorithm decide if you'll have access to these truths. Take control, hit the subscribe button, activate notifications, and ensure you're present for every revelation to come. The fifth benefit that science is validating is the strengthening of the immune system and increased resistance to disease. When you stop constantly draining your body's nutritional and energetic resources through excessive seminal fluid production, the immune system can redirect those resources to its primary function, defending and optimizing your physical health. Studies show that practitioners of semen retention have higher white blood cell counts, a better inflammatory response, and a lower incidence of common illnesses. But this benefit points to something even deeper: the connection between sexual vitality and overall vitality. In traditional Chinese medicine, Jing, the vital essence stored in the kidneys and related to sexual energy, is considered the foundation of all health and longevity. When you waste your Jing through excessive ejaculation, you're not just losing bodily fluid, you're depleting the fundamental battery of your life force. We might think of this as depleting your life energy. The sixth benefit revealed by modern research is a dramatic improvement in the capacity for attraction and social magnetism. This is perhaps the most mysterious and yet most consistently reported aspect by practitioners of semen retention: an inexplicable ability to attract positive attention, respect, and romantic interest almost automatically. Women begin to notice your presence differently, men instinctively respect you, and social and professional opportunities begin to manifest as if you've developed a personal gravity. Science is still deciphering the exact mechanisms behind this phenomenon, but the evidence points to a combination of factors: changes in natural pheromones, alterations in posture and body language resulting from elevated testosterone levels, greater genuine confidence emanating through microfacial expressions, and an energetic presence that others subconsciously perceive. Napoleon Hill called this sexual magnetism, not sexuality expressed in a crude way, but sexual energy transmuted into charisma, leadership, and personal power. The seventh and most transformative benefit is the development of mental discipline and self-control that extends to all areas of life. When you learn to master the most primitive and powerful impulse of the human body, the sexual impulse, you develop a willpower muscle that can be applied to any challenge. Men who practice semen retention consistently report significant improvements in their ability to maintain diets, exercise regularly, focus on work, resist other compulsions, and persevere in the face of obstacles. This is the true secret that Napoleon Hill discovered in the magnates he studied. They weren't men with more natural willpower. They were men who learned to channel their sexual energy to fuel their willpower. Each time they resisted the urge to waste their vital essence, they were strengthening the same mental muscle they would use to build empires, overcome failures, and persevere when others gave up. But we now arrive at the darker heart of this journey, because true sexual transmutation is not possible without confronting the psychological forces that keep you trapped in patterns of waste. Compulsive masturbation is rarely about genuine sexual need, it's about emotional escape, psychological anesthesia, avoidance of responsibilities, and fear of facing the real power that dwells within you. When you feel the urge to masturbate, pause for a moment and investigate what's really happening in your psyche. Are you bored, anxious, avoiding an important task, feeling inadequate or powerless in some area of life? Most of the time, you'll discover that the sexual urge is a mask for an unmet emotional or spiritual need. And herein lies the alchemic key. Instead of using masturbation to escape these feelings, use them as fuel for constructive action. The energy you would feel being wasted in masturbation can be immediately redirected to physical exercise, creative work, learning new skills, building genuine relationships, or any activity that truly builds the life you desire. This is transmutation in action, not the repression of desire, but its alchemic transformation into conscious manifestation. But you must understand that this journey will not be easy, because you will be fighting against deep-seated social conditioning and established neurological patterns. The pornography industry has deliberately created a vicious cycle where men are trained to associate emotional relief with artificial sexual stimulation, creating a real chemical dependence in the brain. Breaking this cycle requires not only willpower, but psychological wisdom and practical strategies. First, you must recognize that the first few days and weeks of semen retention may bring what practitioners call a flatline, a period where libido seems completely absent and you may feel temporarily depressed or low energy. This is not a sign that something is wrong. It's your nervous system recalibrating after years of artificial overstimulation. It's like a drug addict going through detoxification, uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary for true healing. During this recalibration period, you must be especially vigilant about environmental triggers that can sabotage your progress. This means drastically limiting or completely eliminating exposure to pornography, sexually suggestive imagery, content that fuels sexual fantasies, and even certain types of entertainment that keep your mind in states of passive sexual arousal. You are literally reprogramming your pleasure neural pathways, and each exposure to these triggers strengthens the old patterns you are trying to transcend. Simultaneously, you must begin cultivating new neural pathways through activities that genuinely nourish your soul and build your life. Intense physical exercise is crucial, not only because it burns excess sexual energy, but because it naturally and healthily produces well-being neurotransmitters. Meditation, reading mind-expanding books, learning new skills, building meaningful projects, all these activities create new neural pathways associated with pleasure and fulfillment that don't depend on artificial sexual stimulation. The true alchemy happens when you begin to feel the accumulated sexual energy transforming into other forms of personal power. You will first notice it in your physical presence, a firmness in your step, a solidity in your posture, a different kind of sparkle in your eyes. Then will come mental clarity, sharper thoughts, quicker decisions, a capacity for concentration you may never have experienced before. Next, social confidence. Conversations flow more naturally, you feel more at ease in social situations, your voice carries more natural authority. But the deepest aspect of sexual transmutation is spiritual. When you stop wasting your life essence on empty pleasures, you begin to feel a deeper connection to purposes larger than immediate personal gratification. The energy that was once dissipated in fantasies and compulsions is now available for vision, creativity, inspiration, and what Napoleon Hill called infinite intelligence, an expanded capacity to receive insights, solutions, and inspirations that seem to come from a source greater than the ordinary conscious mind. This is the moment when many men experience what can only be described as an awakening, a sudden realization that they were designed for something much greater than they have been living, that there exists within them a dormant potential that has been systematically sabotaged by patterns of energy waste. It's as if a fog has been lifted from their eyes, allowing them to see for the first time the true landscape of their lives and their possibilities. But here we arrive at a crucial paradox that separates true sexual alchemists from neurotic repressors. The ultimate goal of semen retention is not perpetual abstinence, but conscious mastery. A man who never experiences sexual energy is as limited as one who wastes it compulsively. The goal is to develop the ability to consciously and strategically choose when and how your sexual energy will be expressed, always aligned with higher purposes, rather than lower compulsions. When you reach this level of mastery, the experience of sex itself transforms dramatically. Instead of being a release of tension or an escape from reality, it becomes a sacred act of creation and connection. Whether through deep intimacy with a partner you genuinely love, or through the conscious creation of new life, sexual expression becomes an extension of your transmuted life force instead of a dissipation of it. The ancient tantrics understood this principle profoundly. They developed practices where sexual energy was deliberately cultivated and circulated throughout the body, creating expanded states of consciousness, physical healing, and spiritual realization. They weren't repressed celibates, they were sexual alchemists who understood that sexual energy is literally life energy, and that when treated with reverence and wisdom, it can elevate human consciousness to extraordinary levels. Even Napoleon Hill, writing in a much more conservative era, intuited this truth when he wrote about the transmutation of sexual energy. He observed that the most creative and accomplished men in history frequently had periods of intense sexual activity, alternating with periods of complete abstinence, as if they instinctively knew when to conserve their energy for great creative projects, and when to express it for rejuvenation and inspiration. This conscious dance between conservation and expression is the hallmark of the true master of sexual energy. He is a slave, neither to compulsions, nor to repressions. He is the conscious conductor of the most powerful force inhabiting his body, able to direct it toward any goal his higher will determines. As you progress on this journey of transmutation, you will begin to understand why humanity's deepest spiritual traditions have always included teachings on sexual energy, not because sex was considered sinful or dangerous, but because it was recognized as too sacred to be unconsciously wasted. It is the creative power of the universe itself manifested through the human body, nothing less. And here we arrive at the final revelation that can completely transform your relationship with your own masculinity. When you learn to honor and channel your sexual energy consciously, you are not just improving your personal life, you are fulfilling a deeper evolutionary purpose. You are becoming the kind of man who can create not only biologically healthy children, but a psychological, spiritual, and material reality that elevates everyone and everything around him. This is the true meaning of masculine power that our culture has lost. It is not domination over others, or destructive aggression. It is the ability to channel primordial creative force to manifest beauty, order, prosperity, and evolution in the world. It is to be a source of constructive energy so powerful that your presence automatically inspires others to raise their own standards of living. When you walk through this world with your sexual energy transmuted into conscious personal power, you become a catalyst for collective transformation. Other men sense your presence and are unconsciously challenged to question their own patterns of self-sabotage. Women are drawn not just to your masculine energy, but to the superior quality of consciousness it carries. Opportunities manifest because you emanate the kind of magnetic energy that attracts resources, connections, and possibilities. But the true reward of this journey isn't the external benefits, however powerful they may be. The true reward is the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you are no longer a slave to unconscious forces, that you have developed the inner mastery that is the mark of all true greatness. It's the peace that comes from living in harmony with the deepest principles of your own nature, instead of constantly violating them through unconsciousness. You will discover that this satisfaction is qualitatively different from any pleasure-compulsive masturbation ever provided. It's a satisfaction that deepens over time instead of immediately fading, that strengthens your self-esteem instead of sabotaging it, that connects you with your higher purpose instead of disconnecting you from it. This is the invitation before you now, the choice to continue being an unconscious slave to conditioned impulses, or to become a conscious alchemist of the most powerful force inhabiting your body. The choice to continue wasting your life force on empty pleasures, or to transmute it into the fuel that will power your ascent to levels of achievement you may not have even dared to dream of. The journey won't be easy, because you'll be swimming against the current of an entire culture that profits from your weakness and unconsciousness. But you don't have to make this journey alone. There are other men who have already understood these truths and are willing to share their wisdom and support. There are resources, practices, and communities that can dramatically accelerate your progress. The first step is simply deciding that you deserve more than you've been living with until now, deciding that there is within you a power that has been systematically sabotaged, and that the time has come to reclaim it, deciding that you weren't born to be mediocre, addicted, or a slave to forces you don't even fully understand. The second step is to begin immediately, today, to implement the principles we've shared here. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait until you have all the perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel more prepared. The transmutation of sexual energy begins the moment you decide that the next time you feel a compulsive urge, you will pause, breathe, and consciously redirect that energy into something that truly builds the life you desire. And remember, you're not just transforming your own life, you're becoming part of a silent but powerful movement of men who are reclaiming their true masculine nature in a world that systematically tries to weaken them. Every time you choose conscious transmutation instead of unconscious dissipation, you are voting for a future where men are once again respected for their inner strength, their discipline, and their ability to channel power for constructive purposes. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to leave behind the lesser version of yourself and embrace the giant that has always dwelt within you. The strength is already there. It just needs to be recognized, honored, and consciously directed. You have everything you need to begin this transformation right now. The question isn't whether you are capable of this transformation. The question is whether you will have the courage to begin and the discipline to persist until transmutation becomes second nature. The extraordinary man you can become is waiting on the other side of this decision. All that remains is to take the first step,